If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today I am super happy to be sewing along with you the Twilight Travel East Roll and Turquoise pattern. Now what's really exciting about this is another Canadian designer. So thank you so much, Crystal, for allowing me to do a tutorial on your first pattern. This pattern is amazing, so good, so pretty fast to put together. It is a bound bag, but don't be scared of that. What's nice about this is you have nice gradual corners to practice your binding on, so don't be scared of it. This is a lot of fun to make. Let me give you a quick tour of this bag. So what's great about this pattern is she gives you 3 different pockets you can do on the exterior panels. So I chose to do this one that has 2 slip pockets here. And then on the back, this is an optional pocket again, and it's a big slip pocket that goes all the way through to the bottom. Or the third option is this part right here, just this glitter part. That could be a pocket on the back as well. 3 pockets to mix and match as you like, and she gives you all of the pattern pieces and instructions for doing them all in the pattern. Look at that zipper. I just love how it goes all the way down and around. We have a crossbody strap, so you do have the extender on here, because if you clipped it here your bag would flop upside down, so she found a way to add a crossbody strap to this bag, which is absolutely amazing. Now the inside is my favorite part. Wait for it. And you know, I usually don't switch up my linings. I usually do them my way, but I had to do her way because it is just amazing. So on this side, you have 6 card slots and 2 very large slip pockets that are underneath those 6 card slots. On the opposite side, you have 2 zippers, a bigger one and a smaller one, with overlays on the opposite side. Isn't that so cool? So cool. Again, I did waterproof canvas binding in there. You can kind of see how it goes all the way around. I am just in awe that this is a bag by a new designer, because it is absolutely perfection. So as I said, it is a bound finish. I chose to do a waterproof canvas binding in the pattern. I believe she does bias tape. I do have instructions on how to do bias tape in the description in my Bagmakers Basics playlist if you need that. In this one, I show you how to do it with waterproof canvas. Materials I use this bag. So, oh, do you know what? So I wouldn't forget, I kept the tags from Galaxy Customs for all of my vinyls. So this pink vinyl is, not that one, a Cherry Blossom Marine vinyl from Galaxy Customs. Super pretty, super soft. This glitter vinyl is the Atomic Aqua Vegas glitter from Galaxy Customs. All my hardware is from Emmaline bags. My zippers and zipper pulls are from Blue Cala. My lining, I used a 400 denier waterproof canvas, which I got from Canuck, because it has some really pretty colors at Canuck for solids. Interfacing in this bag. Okay, so her interfacing, she has this same pet peeve with Decavol light that I have. When you fuse Decavol light and you go to turn it around, how it wrinkles and it stops sticking. That is why I like to use EB Fuse Heavy in place of that. So EB Fuse Heavy is a product you can get from Emmaline bags, but on that note, I did not use that in this bag. In the pattern, she gets you to use a woven, like an SF101 type interfacing, and a fleece, and that works really well to avoid those wrinkles and what have you. So that, or EB Fuse Heavy from Emmaline bags, or what I use in this, which gives it just a little bit more structure, and it is called Bouncy Firm, and I get it from Belgium. It's from Serial Bagmakers. It's really not that expensive. I buy the big 30-meter roll, and it seems like a big expense at the time, but when you figure out the cost after shipping and duty, it actually is really no different than Decavol light. So I ordered myself a big roll because I don't know of anybody in North America that sells it, and I had to give it a try. So the only way I can really explain what Bouncy Firm is, it's like if foam and Decavol light had a baby you get Bouncy firm. So it gives you that little bit of squish like foam, but not like super thick. And it is fusible. So you can keep it out of the seam allowances. And as you can see, there is no wrinkling anywhere. It sticks really good. So I would recommend for main stabilizers in this, again, EB Fuse Heavy from Emmaline Bags. What Crystal suggests to do, which is the woven interfacing with the fleece, that sticks really good. Or if you have a way of getting the Bouncy firm, I am very happy with the last couple bags I have made with that. So yeah, and I just love that it just gives it that little bit of squish, so you have that luxury of a foam feel in it as well. All my cotton pieces I have backed with EB Fuse Light, which is similar to an SF101. What else? That's really all there is for interfacing in this. Yeah, it's actually has very minimal interfacing, which is amazing. So I strongly recommend this pattern. Go out and get it. It is stinking adorable. I just love it. How about enough talk about that? Let's get to making this bag.
You're going to need some rivets, number 5 zipper tape, some binding, optional O or gate ring, a slider, 2 swivel clasps, 6 rectangular rings, 2 D-rings or triangle rings, optional strap-ins, 4 zipper pulls, and your nameplate. You're going to need your handle pieces, crossbody strap, 4 lower strap pieces, 2 strap extender pieces, 1 strap connector, 2 exterior panel A's and 1 lining, 4 accent trim pieces, your exterior pocket B piece, your exterior lining, your exterior pocket C pieces, exterior and lining mirrored to one another, your optional pocket Q piece, exterior and lining, your bottom panels, exterior and lining, your back zipper panel piece, exterior and lining, your front zipper panel piece, exterior and lining, your zipper pocket pieces, your slip pocket pieces, your card slot piece, your card slot side panels. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my double-sided straps off camera. If you need classes on how I do that, it's down below in the description. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to prepare our 4 lower strap pieces, our 2 extender pieces, and our connector piece. I've drawn a center line already down the middle of all of these. I'm going to take some double-sided tape, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold those long edges into that center line. You will do this with all of these pieces. Now the only thing we're going to do different is with the 4 lower strap pieces, we're going to top stitch the seam allowance along these finished sides with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And for the other 3 pieces, we're going to do the same thing, except for we're going to top stitch them with an 1/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, you can put your 2 strap extenders aside, take your connector piece, fold it in half like so, and cut it into 2 even pieces. I'm going to take a little bit of double-sided tape on one of the short ends of these pieces. I'm going to grab 2 of my rectangular rings. I'm going to slide it on and then fold this in half, wrong sides together, and secure it with the tape. You can go ahead and you can put these aside for now. Now for our 4 lower strap pieces, I've marked down as per the pattern measurements on the wrong side of the top of this. Put a little double-sided tape on top and my rectangle ring, and I'm going to fold this wrong sides together right at that line. Now on the wrong side, I'm going to put some more double-sided tape on like so, and this is going to help us stick it to the exterior panels when we're ready. Once you have all 4 done, make sure they are all the same size. Okay, so now we're going to work on our pocket pieces. So I've already gone and put my nameplate on my pocket piece B piece. I'm going to put these wrong sides together. Yes, wrong sides together, not right sides together. I'm going to clip along the top like so. And all the way around. Once we have these evenly clipped around, we're going to go ahead and baste all of those together. You're going to do the exact same thing with your other pocket pieces. Okay, so once that is done, that's what that looks like. Now I'm going to take one of my accent trim pieces here, and I'm going to put some double-sided tape above and below the marked center line that's on the wrong side of these pieces. Next, you're going to take this along the top raw edge of one of your pocket pieces. I'm going to use this piece here. I'm going to make sure it's nice and centered, and I am going to line that raw edge up with that line. Now here it's very important that you make the accent piece move to the shape of our pocket piece. You want it to take on that nice rounded shape that the top of this has. So just take your time here. You can do it. It will feel a little weird at first, but you'll see it's going to come together really easy, just because you're making that straight piece kind of curved. Once you have this all done up to that middle line, go ahead and take the paper backing off the other side, and you are going to fold it over that raw edge. And you want to make sure that our accent piece is somewhat even on both sides, because we're going to top stitch this in place. We want to make sure that this is catching both sides. Now, if you're a little worried about that, just make sure that the lining side is slightly longer than the top side, because we're going to top stitch this along that raw edge with the seam allowance stated in the pattern, and if it's just that little bit longer, it will for sure catch both sides. I also like to use some clips here, just because the tape does want to give away a little bit because of the curviness of this angle. So go ahead and, as I stated before, top stitch this, making sure you're catching all layers with the seam allowance in the pattern. This is what that looks like done. Make sure both sides were caught, and you can trim the accent piece to match the pocket piece. You're going to go ahead and you're going to do the same with the top edges of the other two pocket pieces. Okay, so now we're going to take our exterior pocket C and put it over exterior pocket B, nice and centered like so. Both of these are right side up. I've also gone ahead and put my nameplate already on my pocket piece B piece. Go ahead and clip these together and then take them to the machine and baste them. For exterior pocket Q, I've already gone ahead and I've transferred my dart lines here. You could definitely dart them up. Before this, I left the bottom unbasted because I like to do it this way, then I can match them up nice and perfectly. So you're going to fold along those dart lines, right sides together for both the lining and the exterior. We are working with them separately here. Once you have those all lined up nicely, you're going to go ahead and sew along that line for both the lining and the exterior, creating 4 darts. Okay, so that's all done. Now you can kind of match up the darts wrong sides together of the lining and exterior, and you can nest them together like so to help reduce the bulk. Clip those in place. Same with the other side. Have one seam going one way and one seam going the other, so they nest nicely, so we have minimal bulk there. Go ahead and clip the other edges together and then baste those raw edges. So that is our 2 pockets done. Now we want to bring out our exterior pieces, pattern piece A's. We want to mark the top and bottom centers. Make sure you definitely have them orientated properly, as you want to make sure the top and the bottom are the true top and bottom, or our shapes will not go together well. Next, I want to take my front pocket piece, find my bottom center. I'm also going to take a little bit of double-sided tape on the lining side and put it up these raw edges. Then we're going to line up the bottom center marks of the pocket piece and the exterior piece and stick that tape down, and then baste those raw edges, the 2 side pocket edges as well as the bottom, to secure this pocket in place. Once basted in place, you can see I already marked in 2 lines from the left and right hand side as per the pattern measurements. I'm going to take my lower strap pieces and line them up to the left and to the right of these lines here, and that is going to enclose the raw edges of that pocket piece. You want to do the same with the back piece. Make sure they are definitely centered. You want to do the same with the back piece here, lining up to the left of the line on the left hand side and to the right of the line on the right hand side. And then we're going to change into our left zipper foot, and we're going to top stitch these in place with a 1/8 of an inch top stitch, getting nice and close to the hardware. So this gives us 2 really pretty decorative top stitching lines on these pieces, as we've already gone in with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance already. So that is our front panel done. You can see that has done it all. I've got ahead and I've put rivets in there, backed with some scraps of Decaville Heavy to help secure those more. I'm going to take my back pocket piece, match up the bottom center like so, match up the top center like so, and it will billow out. That is what we want. And clip together the raw edges, and then you can go ahead and you can baste this in place. So as per the pattern, I've gone ahead and I've marked lines on my right side and my wrong side. I've marked the top of my card slot piece and I'm bringing it towards myself. I'm going to fold this right sides together along that first line on the wrong side, and then I'm going to do the same on the second line on the wrong side, bringing them right sides together, giving it a really good finger press. This roller really helps make that seam good because I am using a canvas here. Do the same with the next line. Again, lining up your fold with the marking on the back. And then we're going to flip this over, so now it's wrong side up, and we're going to fold at the first line that we have marked on the right hand side and give it a good press. And this is getting memory into our fabric, so we can fold this into the perfect card slot. If you're using cotton, you can definitely take this to the iron and you can press these seams too. Okay, so now it should naturally fold up into our card slot pieces. So I'm going to just use some clips here to hold it in place once I have it where it's going to go. I'm going to follow the natural movement of those folds that we pressed and bring it together. And again, if you're using a material you can iron, you can definitely press this there as well. So this is what that looks like. Once you're happy with that, you'll know if it's the right length because your side panels are going to be the same length. So adjust accordingly. I've just double checked with my cards that it does fit the right depth in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to top stitch each of those card slots, folding everything away from where we are top stitching each of those folds, just like so. So I've already gone ahead and I've marked my center line, and I have my and my sides here. I'm going to go down that center line like so to create my card slots, just like that. You don't want to go any further than that, and baste at the sides. Make sure your card slots fit in there, or your cards fits there good, and it does. Now we're going to go ahead and take our interior card slot sides. We're going to bring them right sides together with the card slots that we just finished. Clip them in place. And then we're going to sew down this with the seam allowance in the pattern. We're going to open up that seam so the seam is facing towards the sides, and then we are going to top stitch through those side panels. So again, we're going to sew here, fold this open, and then top stitch through the side. So here's our front lining panel complete. I've already gone ahead and did my slip pocket. I put the accent piece on top of it, just like we did with our exterior pockets. So I'm finding my top and bottom centers of my lining piece. I'm taking my exterior piece, and I am also finding the bottom center of that. We're going to line up those bottom centers and clip them in place. So again, that accent piece goes on exactly how we did the accent pieces for the exterior pockets. Clip this in place, nice and centered. Then once we have this in place, we're going to baste along the raw edges, but we're also going to go up the center of that pocket. I'm going to use the center of my card slots as a guide, as you see me doing here. I'm going to mark it with some chalk, and I'm going to go down here and then up and back down, just like we did with the card slots before, and around, and that is going to create our 2 slip pockets over top of our card slots. It's just so pretty. I just love this technique so much. So I already went ahead and did my 2 zipper pockets, making you don't have to leave the bottoms open. If you need a class on how to do zipper pockets with overlay, it's down below in the description. So now I'm going to take my front exterior panel and my lining front panel. I'm going to put them wrong sides together, match up the raw edges, and clip it all the way around. You will do the same with the exterior back panel and the lining back panel. And once you have these all clipped together, you're going to go ahead and you are going to baste these all the way around. This is those all complete. You can set those aside for now. Now we're going to work on our front zipper panels. Now I've cut my zipper tape a little bit longer so I can pull my pulls out of the way like I have done here. I am taking my aligning front zipper panel, which is right side up, putting some double-sided tape on there. You can definitely use clips if you prefer as well. So I'm taking my lining panel and my zipper. Both of these are right side up, and I'm sticking or clipping these together along one of the long sides. Then I'm going to take my exterior and again put some more double-sided tape along one of the long sides. You can once again use clips if your machine prefers that over the stickiness of the tape. Then you're going to take this and you are going to put it right sides together over top of the lining and the zipper piece, making sure that this lines up nice and even with the lining panel. They have to be the same length. So double check, and if you need to adjust, do so. And then we're going to go ahead, put on our zipper foot and sew across this with the seam allowance in the pattern. Done, we want to go ahead and we want to press the lining and the exterior away from each other. If you can use an iron, if you're using materials, you can definitely go ahead and do that. I'm using materials I cannot iron, so I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape as my pressing agent here. So I've put it along the inside of that seam we just sewn, so I can press my exterior nice and tight away from my zipper teeth, just like so. I'm going to flip it over and do the same with the lining side, bringing the lining and exterior zipper panels wrong sides together. Again, nice and tight away from the zipper teeth. Make sure that everything looks nice and even. If you used a zipper foot, you should have a nice and even seam allowance, and these should match up nicely and not be getting in the way of the zipper tape. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to clip my raw edges, and the 3 raw edges we're going to base, and then along the zipper tape where we had sewn all 3 pieces together, we're going to go ahead and top stitch along there. This is that all done. You're going to go ahead and you're going to do the exact same thing with the back zipper panels and the other side of the zipper tape, making sure they're nice and even. So they are nice and even. Go ahead and pull your zipper pulls into the center, and you can at this point go ahead and trim off any excess zipper tape that you have. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we are going to work on our D-ring connectors. Now I'm going to put a little bit of double-sided tape in the center of the wrong side of the D-ring connector. I'm going to take my D-ring, well, I'm using a triangle ring here, but D-ring works well as well. And we're going to fold over about 1.5 inches to the wrong side over the D-ring, like so. And then bring our strap extender, rectangle ring we prepared for before, and put it onto the other side of that D-ring connector. So it looks like what you have here. I'm going to measure in as per the pattern measurements from the zipper teeth on the back zipper panel like I have, and I am going to put a little bit of double-sided tape along the backing of the D-ring connector so this will stay in place. I'm going to line up with about 1/4 inch of the extender hanging over the raw edge, and then stick this down along that line that we had just drawn. I'm also going to use a few clips to make sure it stays in place and base that right where the connector is hanging over the side. I'm also going to go ahead and mark as per the pattern measurements where I'm going to be placing some rivets. You can definitely top stitch the D-ring connector if you want to, but I'm just going to use rivets to hold that in place. So there you go. I've done the rivets. They go through all the layers. And now we're going to create the rest of our gusset. So we're going to take our exterior lower gusset and place it right sides together with our zipper panel, matching up one short edge. They should be the same width if we got our seam allowances right. I'm going to take the lining and add it into those clips with the linings being right sides together as well. And we're going to sew across there with the seam allowance in the pattern. Flip these wrong sides together and then a top stitch through the bottom panels. That's the first side done like so. We're going to do similar with the other side, but it's just slightly different. So we're going to bring the exteriors right sides together just like we did with the other, and bring the linings together like so. So you kind of have two loop-de-loops. Go ahead and sew the seam allowance through there. Next, we want to open up the zipper and we want to flip these wrong sides together so they're kind of in the same loop like so. You want these to be wrong side out like so. Match up our centers and then evenly distribute the fabric, clipping these wrong sides together along those unsewn sides. So you're going to do it on this side as well as the opposite side of our bottom panels. Next, we're going to take this to the machine. You're going to see where our top stitching of the one side was. That is where we are going to want to start. So there's my top stitching. We're going to baste down this side, top stitch through the loop across here, and then baste up the opposite side. And that is what our gusset looks like. I went ahead and I put some rivets in that bottom connector as well, the strap extender I mean. Now I'm going to line up that seam and make sure that my centers are still definitely center like so. If not, go ahead and just do snips to realign that center. Do the same on the opposite side, down to the bottom and down to this up to the zipper panel like so. And then our quarter sections we want to find on our main exterior panels. So we've already got our top and bottom centers. So fold this in half like so to find our side centers. And you will find that our side centers will match pretty close to where our zipper panels and our bottom gussets match. So you want to make sure you definitely have the quarter sections on both backs and fronts of your main exterior pieces like I'm doing here. Now what we're going to do is we want to make sure we have our front panel here and make sure you're putting it right sides together with the narrow side of the zipper panel, as that is our front zipper panel. Otherwise your bag will be backwards. Match up the top centers of the gusset and the exterior panel. Do the same with the bottom as well as the two sides. I like to clip them as quarter sections first and then evenly distribute the fabric in between those quarter sections. I find that is the best way to do it to make sure everything fits. Now, if you got all your seam allowances right, this should fit perfectly. So I have my quarter sections done. Now I'm going to go ahead and start evenly distributing that fabric. Now when you get to the corners, if it looks like your gusset doesn't want to go down around those corners smoothly, you can go ahead and put little 1/8 of an inch snips into those corners. This one barely needed it. It fits pretty good around these corners, but I'm just going to put it in there just to make sure it is going around, and clip those corners. Do not be scared to use a lot of clips here. You definitely do not want this to slip. Some people like to go in with staples at about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance in there. I never myself have luck with that, but if it works for you, definitely do that. We're going to go ahead and sew all the way around with the seam allowance stated in the pattern. So that is one side done. I'm just going to kind of run my finger around the seam to make sure everything was caught. There's no raw edges. Once you're satisfied with that, go ahead and do the same with the opposite side. So there it is. Now we are ready for binding. So in the pattern, I believe she uses bias tape binding. I'm going to use a waterproof canvas binding. So this is the way I like to do it. I put some double-sided tape down the center, and then I fold it over that raw edge seam nice and even. You want to make sure that you will be catching, when you sew this together, both the top and the bottom of your waterproof canvas lining here. So go ahead and bind yours. with whatever method you like. You can use waterproof canvas like I am. You can use bias tape. I do have a link in the description below in the Bagmakers basic playlist on how I do bias tape. You could use fold over elastic. There are so many different ways to bind it, so definitely go ahead and bind this with whatever your binding preference is. Waterproof canvas binding in place like so. I'm going to go ahead and follow the line of my waterproof canvas, which brings me in about 1/8 of an inch less than the seam allowance was, catching both sides. I've done that with both sides, binding both sides. Now you can go ahead and you can turn this right side out. Now I did use a glitter vinyl here, so it is sticking to itself a little bit, but it is so worth it. Just take your time, punch it through, fold everything out, massage it through. It actually turns pretty easy as we have such a big opening in the top with that zipper going so far down the side. Once you get there, push against that binding to bring your seams nice and crisp. One wonderful thing about a bound bag is it just gives the bag such a structured, nice seam. I mean, we have not used any foam in this bag, so it just really helps give it that little bit of structure all the way around that seam. But make sure you are pushing out those seams and kind of rolling it in between your fingers to get nice, crisp, rounded seams and corners, just like so. She looks so pretty. Once you're happy with that and you have folded them all on, all you need to do now is go ahead and rivet on your handles. So I've put my handles on like this. I'm just double checking everything looks good. My inside, everything is caught. There's no raw edges. You can clip on your crossbody strap. Admire your work. Pat yourself on the back. You did an amazing job. And we're done.
All right, that's it. That's all. Didn't she come together super fast and super fun and super adorable? I just love this bag. Anyways, if at any time you did like this video or found it helpful, please do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you haven't checked out the membership side of the channel, make sure you check that out in case there's something that interests you. If you want to support my channel further, you can always buy me a coffee, and that is linked down below. And until the next one, I'll see you guys again. Bye!